What's good? Hold on. All right. I know this is a weird title, but uh, after reading a lot, well enough in comparison to most people, and the stuff I read about, be kind of interesting. Like, and I call it Area 144 because I really want to talk about the area, and I talked about it before, in which the area of where a lot of the things in the scripture take place, and also, like, how Area 51 was surrounded by, like, UFOs and alien conspiracy things. And I want to talk about the things that we can read and that actually, kind of sound alien like, without getting weird. And the reason I'm talking about these things, or the reason why I want to discuss them, because I know a lot of times we looked at, like, we're not really sure what a demon would look like, or what a heavenly creature would look like. Uh, in some cases, when we read it, a lot of the demons, they kind of were just in people. They was in people, and they just they came in the form of, like, diseases or mental illnesses, and things like that. And that's where they basically come. And that's when they basically are prevalent and are more interacted with in that type of form. But they never really, kind of give a description of them, from what I read. I know a lot of brothers get into the different books like Enoch and Jasher, where I know in Enoch, it kind of give and even on the Testament of Solomon, where they give, better description of these demons, whether you believe in them books or not. But them, like, the only ones that really kind of give a detailed description of them. So, and then looking at how the angels are described, they they will be more fearful to see, in my opinion, just looking at them, from the description that they are given, like, the seraphims and things like that. Like, I remember reading where, you can look at stuff up on your own. I remember reading where one of the angels had hoof feet, or one of the creatures that dealt with the Most High had four faces, You know what I'm saying? Well, like things like that would be creepy. And the difference would be, say if you was to encounter something like that. I'm most likely you won't. But let's just kind of whatever, just throw out some fantasy scenarios. If you would encounter a man standing maybe 7 feet with hoofed with hooves for feet and a sharp looking face, like some you wouldn't think that was from the Most High. You wouldn't think. I mean, just off of how we are presented, through media and stuff like that, what is from the Most High. So the only way you will be able to tell if that's of the Most High is, asking that creature to do something of the Most High. I mean, it's no because, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because the things that are in the heavens are not pleasing, would be pleasing to most people's eyes. So, I know that the depiction is, white, beautiful. That ain't the case from the scripture. That these creatures of the Most High are really kind of scary looking, and that's because, I mean, I don't know that why they are or why they're depicted as this or why they are this, but I know that, and they do teach that anything that look like this is is something evil or something that's not, something of the Most High. But I would say this because this is me. If I encounter something like that, regardless, I'm gone. Regardless of, I'm not even asking no questions. But I just be tripping on how, movies and everything, the scariest looking things always evil. But the Most High got some scary looking creatures too. And I just found that kind of weird. I know a lot of things we get into. I was going to talk about this, but I'm going to just save it. It was another scenario, another topic I wanted to talk about too, but I'm going to just save it. But yeah, man, it's a lot of weird things are depicted in the scripture that don't necessarily fit what we would call beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case. And that right there alone let me know that I cannot be foolish in my learnings. Like what I think to be right just may not be the case. And I think it's in everybody's best interest to really not lean on your own understanding of things. Hold on. Indeed, yeah. Shalom too, by the way. But yeah, man, I'm not I don't care what it look like. I ain't talking to it. But, I know how things are perceived differently. And how in our way of operating. And just thinking about that, I'm like, yo, man, that's pretty interesting. How you can have a demonic creature and a heavenly creature standing right in front of you. You want to know who's on what team. And that lets me know, there's a little bitty chipmunk. That lets me know that I don't know as much as I think I know, just from that standpoint. And then I'm looking at the areas in the Bible, like where everything is taking place. I'm talking about all the sceneries and the stuff they encounter, and the things they dealing with. All this is, of course, on the eastern side of the planet, and it's not, and everything is really taking place in Africa, for the most part, and what we would like to call the Middle East. These are where most of the things are taking place at. Of course, you got different uh, 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 things mentioned, like Rome and Greece, but for the most part, everything are prophets, the apostles, Christ. Everybody is operating in Africa, and all the prophecies take place in Africa. I mean, Isaiah mentioned that he was going to grab the remnant from places in Africa. So I'm saying that to say, And that also led me to this point of why I look at myself so, at first when I got the truth, I'm like, man, yeah, man, us the people over here in America, man, we the ones for sure. We the ones that's gonna get to the end of this thing for sure. And then I sat back years later, and I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, hold on, this ain't really mentioning. I know a lot of brothers like to go to Ezra's, which I agree with. But even outside, even if you add that into the equation, 90% of everything is taking place in Africa, and even the prophecies take place in Africa. And I'm just tripping on how I was so prideful and my head was so blown up, understanding I was an Israelite over here in America, suffering these atrocities, of course. But and then I'm like, yo, what about the rest of the world? The rest of the world, where is everybody else? Because the scriptures say we are spread it uh, to the four corners. And I'm like, well, I'm only in one corner. It's three more corners. And I'm like, why do I feel the need to elevate myself above these brothers and sisters that are in China, or and that led me to maybe America is where a lot of us won't make it. And that led me to, I mean, this is all my thinking process, and that led me to work even harder, knowing that, uh, yeah, we in a place where a lot of people agree that bombs gonna drop, things will be, eradicated and destroyed. Won't be no life here for some people's doctrine, and I'm like, yo, well, how is that possible? And the possibility of us being conquering this place, because the two things don't add up. Uh, if it's gonna be a desolate place forever, how are we gonna dwell in a desolate place forever? So I know a lot of brothers. There's even some teachers that claim that Jerusalem is here. I mean, whatever, but still, that still puts you in a small group that possibly won't make it. And then I'm just like, yo, why are we ignoring the fact that? Because think about this: the slave trade, more the slave route, I would say, the more people went to South America, than they did North America. And that, so we putting all these things together. If more slaves went to South America than North America, and we are spread it out to the four corners, and it just simple math. If an elevator capacity is 10 people, you're not fitting more than 10 people in there. If the elevator capacity is 400 people, and you can get well over 10 people. And I'm saying that to say America is one country, Africa is a continent that has 50 plus countries, some as big as the United States. So my math on it would be there got to be more Israelites in Africa, way more Israelites in Africa, and if we just slicing the pie on every continent, or or every continent and country, we slicing the pie. Uh, if we just say we just assume that every state got every country got 50 states. Even in Africa, we just assume that, and every country gonna lose 48 states worth of Israelites. The numbers here are gonna be very slim compared to Africa still, or anywhere. And I'm just me trying to be as realistic as possible, living in reality, and not living in some false doctrinal mindset. Not saying that the doctrine is false, but the doctrinal things that lead us to a false mindset. And just living like that, just trying to really take these words, man, and put them in perspective and live in a way that don't contradict reality. And I'm just looking like, yo, I don't think we know too much of nothing. Or the people that's having these same type of realizations, they not really promoting it as much, and it's not really putting the idea out there that man, y'all can hashtag my name next to reality, and because that's the thing I'm trying to live in because I'm living in it, and not trying to be in this fantasy world too long, because I understand that you can get caught up in this fantasy world, man, and then you look up and things ain't lining up with you with your fantasy, and now you questioning the Most High, and I have yet to question the Most High because I like to live in reality. Things just don't happen the way you think they're gonna happen, and that's just life. Anybody try to get a new gig? I know I did, and everything was lined up. Boom, this was from the Most High. I said, no, it wasn't. So reality, you gotta live in reality, man. Shalom. So that's what this mostly about, man. Understanding that, like I mentioned earlier, uh, these type of creatures that we see on TV that look demonic or creepy was the same type of creatures that the Most High had. And me just being me, I wouldn't talk to damn none of them because I wouldn't know. Like so I wouldn't talk to no creatures at all, unless I mean something like very weird had to happen. Like you had to be if you come in from the heavens. I mean, in a fire and with a fire trail, and I hear and I see my people and they from slavery and they like I know he looks scary, but he's of the Most High. I mean, it's a whole lot of things got to go down for me to go ahead and hop on this cloud with you, because I'm just very cautious, and I live in reality. So I'm just not into just doing things. It's just not. It's just not who I am. But man, it just like I say, all this thinking, man, and the biggest thing to me was the understand the areas in which the scriptures are talking about all the time is not. It don't even really mention outside of Ezra's, Asterisk, if you will, uh, America. America is like far removed from these prophecies, to the extent of we the group that's gonna be saved. When you got all these Africans, you got people in Russia, our people in Russia, a lot of our people. What about them? Why we can't find a way to get them into the prophecies? I don't know. I think it's unfair, man. I mean, sure. Well, unless even if a creature was approach me in peace and everything like that, I still would be very cautious, because we understand that you know, uh, peace is the best way to get. Think about this. Nobody, if somebody wants to get something from you or have an agenda to corrupt you, and really don't want to seem like the bad guy, they gonna come in peace regardless. They gonna come in peace. You know, in relationships, men that just want what they want, they gonna come in peace. Sisters who just want what they want from you, they gonna come in peace until they get what they want from you. So I mean, that's just how it is. I know it's a hard thing to really go by because then you won't find yourself trusting nobody. But hey, let them know. It's a trial period. Go through the. I always got steps, man. Go through these steps. If you can't go through these steps, then it is what it is. But yeah, man, I'm outside this gym, man, about to go in. But yeah, man, that's just looking at these areas. I understood then that we can't have the big head. I ain't saying we won't be delivered. I'm saying we can't have the big head to think that we are the people that's above all our other people. When history tells us the routes to the of the slave ships show us that more people went to Brazil, went to South America. So that alone is more people there than here. We just talking about on the western side of this thing. You said who? Hold on. Trying to see what else you said. They kicked you out? Who kicked you out? Shalom. 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 I ain't into conspiracies, man, but my YouTube be bugging, man. I mean, I did a video. It was an hour and 40 minutes, and they put up 12 minutes of it. I'm like, yo, what's the problem? What's the issue? So I ain't into conspiracies though. I know technology is faulty. We love and trust technology so much. When it mess up, we think it's the devil. So, and that's another thing. Like, we everything is not the devil. Sometimes cars just break down because that's what cars do, and it has nothing to do with the devil. If you think about how many times things happen to you and how many times things didn't happen to you wouldn't say it was the devil. You would say, oh, well, it was about time something happened. Because the majority of your life, nothing is, for most people, nothing is really happening. You'd have had your car for 3 years, no problems. You had maybe get some new windshield wipers, had to get some brake pads. And then on the fourth year, your alternator go bad. You like, oh, man, it's the devil, man. No, you've been driving on this alternator for 3 years. It's wear and tear action. So I just try to live in reality and not get caught up in that. You will know when it's really the devil or when it's devilish things surrounding you. Is when you can't get right no matter what. Every you can't you can't seem to stay out of jail. You ain't even doing nothing. That's how you know some devils around you, some spirits around you. But if your alternator go bad, brother, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. That's just wear and tear on your whip. Christianity, and we are naturally a superstitious people because we are mostly connected to the supernatural. So we are naturally just superstitious and we like to place blame on other things than reality. And it makes us comfortable knowing that uh something is happening to me because we try to make like our personal life is is subject to demonic attack because we are holy. But that's not the case. A lot of our grandmas used to say it all the time about uh spirits messing with them. When no, diabetes is not a spirit, so to speak, attacking you. It's your way of life. For 30 years, you was eating pork juice and drinking, So reality. That's all I preach, man. Reality, reality, reality. If you ain't living in reality, you're gonna mess somebody up. Somebody gonna get stumbled up on what you got stumbled up on. And just check yourself. If you can't check yourself, you can't check nobody else, and that's simple. Everybody want to check somebody else. I know that's the typical saying too. Get the beam out your eye, but no, seriously, get the beam out your own eye. Check yourself first. If you able to correct yourself, then you can correct people, even if you slip up sometimes. But if you never correcting yourself, then you don't have no right to correct nobody else. Yeah, man. Today it rained. I went outside and did my jog and walk, man, and rain. And rain, man. I was kind of upset because I couldn't tell how good I was sweating. But I sweated pretty good still. It was thundering and everything. And I saw the rain. I tried to record it, how the rain was like, it was on like 30 feet in front of me. But where the clouds was at, it only rained right there. And it was like coming towards me. And I'm walking towards it. But yeah, that was pretty cool to see that. I seen it before years back when I was playing football. How it was raining on the park, but it wasn't raining on us. You could see the rain coming towards you. That's pretty. I mean, that's pretty cool to see stuff like that. Yeah, man. Accountability. And I know a lot of people with mental issues. They like to say the devil did it. I've been around people like that. I've been around tons of people with mental health issues, and it's some real spirits around that too. But they understand that a lot of them will tell you, they ain't living right. They ain't doing this right. They ain't doing that right. So if majority of your time is being corrupted, you're gonna be subject to more demonic and stuff, presence like that. And I was saying this earlier, like a lot of the demons in the scripture are not really depicted and described. They are mostly in people, and they are mental illnesses or sicknesses or whatever the case and stuff like that, man. Once I was reading on this mucus, how like mucus is really kind of like a spirit, and it would put me in the idea of like ectoplasm. You know how like a ghost will give off like ectoplasm, whatever that stuff called, and that's what it kind of remind me of. When you hacking that stuff out, you spit it out, you look at it. I know it's gross, but whatever. We human. And you look at it, you like, yo, that's look nasty. Where is that coming from? It's kind of look like ectoplasm to me. And I just try to live in a way where I'm just figuring out things. First, I'm going to the Most High, praying on it, and then I'm asking Him to have me a mindset where I'm just not blind by nothing. I want everything to be revealed to me. The Book of James said that if you want wisdom, go to the Most High and just ask for it, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I do all the time, and that's all I really want is to be able to see things. Boom, that's that, and deal with it. I don't want to say, oh man, that could be that, it could be that. Even though I know you have to train yourself to be able to spot things and you have to study and make mistakes. But I want to get to a point, man, when my beard down in my chest and it's all great, I want to be like, yo, man, yeah, that's no, I can tell you exactly what that is. And it may not never happen, but that's what I'm striving to do. And I'm not gonna get caught up thinking that I got that ability because I don't. And this is what I do when I don't when I'm trying to get that ability and I realize that I don't have it, or whatever the case. I'm questioning everything. No, that don't make sense. That don't make sense. And if it do make sense, I'm looking at the thing that counteracts this. That's just me. I know a lot of people are not strong enough to look at things that counteract or controversial to their belief and come out strong. A lot of people fall off the map. But me, I believe that I'm strong enough. So I test myself. Okay, this is what I learned. This is what I read. But let me see what somebody else is saying to counteract this thing. And then I look at the thing that counteracts it, and I say, okay, now let me look at these both perspectives. That's just how I am, and that's how I'm coming to my conclusions. And I'm praying that they right, and they may be all the way off, 100% false. I may be doing the most stupidest thing on the planet, but I'm not giving up my prayers. I'm praying and make sure that even if this idea is stupid, that you help me better understand the things I need to do. And that's why I always say the the things we need to do is the simplest things on the planet. Don't kill, don't steal, don't covet, don't be all up in nobody else's white face. Simple stuff. So after all this, contemplating on what type of doctrinal thing I should roll with, I say, this is getting too difficult. Like in Sirach, when they say it gets too difficult. Don't look at the things that are too above your understanding. I think that's Sirach 3. So I just fall back, be like, you know what? I ain't gonna murder nobody. I ain't gonna steal from nobody. The simple stuff. And now I'm back on track, and now I'm doing what I need to do. But I ain't gonna hold y'all too much, man. I may jump back on, and we could talk about the other thing I wanted to talk about. But yeah, man, that's it, man. I'm just yeah, man, read, and then look at some of these areas that you're reading about too, and it's all pointing to Africa, man. And from what I read, y'all might see something different. But all right, y'all, man. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in here, man, before I don't do it. All right, shalom, y'all.